First of all, each one of you, thank you so much for filling the room. The theme that we are going to address is extremely important. As you'll see, it's not, we really need to go beyond sustainability in digital regeneration, but as we'll see, we need also to end up really causing no harm, because we should not, with all the trouble we are creating, we should not, do some things and then some regenerative projects. That would be highly incomplete. So we need to do everything. So we are going to try to explain what is this new world of regeneration. That is a world in which several companies, big corporates, have stated claims, or not claims, but intentions of becoming fully regenerative. We heard people like Walmart, like Nestle. But so let's see what means really regeneration and how far we need to go and how it connects with the human being and with the people. Okay? So we need to keep the show running. If you want to see all the fabulous people that we have here, we need to keep the show very tight, and we need to recover time, because the last speaker cannot speak after a certain time, and we are like 40 minutes late or 45. Okay, so we need to reduce the debate by some 10 minutes each. Okay, also some notion for all our moderators. So let's start. The first topic is something that deals with, I don't have here exactly the term, but that, we need really to attack the sustainability quite deeply. We cannot do small steps. We cannot reduce slightly our footprint. We really need to go far. And then we'll introduce regeneration, as we go. But let's start by seeing that small steps, it's not enough. And the time is getting, the timeline is very tight. Okay. So let me introduce the amazing people we have with us. It's really an amazing reunion of people. We have on the back John Fullerton and Capital Institute, a big partner of us here. Planetiers, by the way, has an important partnership with Católica Porto, in which we created a hub called Insure Hub, Innovation in Sustainability and Regeneration. This is part of this collaboration with John Fullerton and Capital Institute, then connecting with Gunter Pauli there, with the beer, and Chris from WhatIF Foods here. So let's start immediately. So first, it's, less bad is not enough. That's the tone of it. Can we have a small presentation, very small presentation, only to set the stage on this? If you look at this picture, and I will go up for you to see it all. This picture by Bill Reed, one of the Regenesis guys, that John can comment more later, speaks about degeneration and regeneration. We are like, I tend to think that we are here, okay? So if you see this picture, this here is a trend. It's not where we are at all. If we were there, I would say we were fantastic, at a fantastic stage, even if we were not dealing with regeneration. So conventional practices, green things, then sustainable design. We need to go to zero. We need to go to no harm. More than carbon zero is cause no harm at all. There are 9 planetary systems interconnected. It's not only carbon. And then we enter into the regenerative stage, and we go into regeneration. But also have in mind that people that do some things in regeneration, and I saw that, amazing work in regeneration, maybe it is not the work done on this side. So we need to combine the work of regeneration and cause no harm, okay? So let's go. One slide more, please. It's here, sorry. It's me.
Well, I hope I'm audible. My mic is on.
1 second.
Thank you so much.
So let's take this example and Chris.
When we prepared ourselves for that panel, we thought we'll give you a little bit of a flavor as to where big levers are, and definitely SDG 15, life on land. Certainly to me and my fellow colleagues at WhatIF Foods, we believe that SDG 15, life on land, if we're not doing right here, how can we ever expect equality? How can we ever expect education? How can we expect most of the other SDGs to really come through and be met if we don't manage life on land? And from an agriculture and food perspective, I would like to show you a couple of data points of status quo. They're quite grim, to be honest, and I hope we can go through those sort of numbers rather quickly, but it gives you the sort of levers that we can unleash if you think about Project Drawdown or Regenerating and others. So I probably don't really mention all of these numbers, and they're quite cryptic, and I kept it really cryptic numbers so that you pay attention to what I'm saying. But the first line here is that 12 crops and 5 animals together produce more than 75% of all food that we are consuming today. That is despite us knowing more than 300,000 species being well fit for human consumption. It is about 4 companies that control up to 90% of all grain trade in the world. And that is an oligarchy, an oligarchy that is probably not as healthy as we wish it to be. 77% of all land is used to actually grow 17% of our protein, of our calories that we intake. Because that 77% of all arable land is used to grow the feed for the livestock. That makes 17% of calories. If you're an entrepreneur and you look at this figure, you say, this is not efficient. This is a waste of resources at the highest extreme. We emit about 1/3 of all greenhouse gases. I think that is known to most of people here. But we are also responsible in the agri-food industry. We are also responsible for about 70% of all freshwater reserves on that planet. We are actually wasting them quite indiscriminately as we go through the world. And believe it or not, we already grow enough calories for 2 times current population. It's just that we are wasting so much. We overconsume where people become too heavy. We convert calories into, for example, biofuels in other parts of the world. And that is a status quo that is definitely not something we should preserve if you think about sustainability, sustaining something. I don't think we should sustain that. So if you think about 2 times the calories that humanity needs is already produced today, then going forward into 2050 cannot be a production capacity challenge that we have. However, we are facing a huge challenge out there on soils, out there on the ground, and that is that more than 52%, more than half of arable land today is degraded already, meaning it is not usable for producing current crops. And degradation currently is happening 35 times faster than our records show. Now I want to put this in some tangible terms, that degradation every minute equals to the size of 23 soccer fields every minute. We are losing 23 soccer fields worth of farming land every minute. And that is in stark contrast of what we heard today morning, that we actually lose 30 soccer fields every minute on deforestation. Because the old system needs fresh land to grow the crops as well as the livestock we are feeding ourselves on. And hence there's a vicious cycle set in motion that is destined to be disrupted. Otherwise, it's going to disrupt us, or basically destroys us. I've also put here another number. It's rather down on the slide here. It's 2 billion farmers today are having an income of less than $350 a year. The $1 a day is a notional number, but the $350 a day, if you go in an airport and you walk through, by the time you're at the gate, you probably have spent that amount of money. 7 out of 10 people, and that are consumers, are suffering from what they're eating because our diets are not fit for purpose. They are just calorie intense and calorie rich rather than nutrient dense. And that gets me basically to the last column here, and I know I took a little bit too much time out on this, but we are living in an obesity crisis. I've just learned yesterday that 68% of all Australians are obese. That is more than 2/3 of all Australians are obese. There's a ticking time bomb with cardiovascular diseases, colon cancers, bowel cancers, and the list goes on and on and on. Food price increase, natural, whenever we run into a crisis like inflation, commodity traders hop out of other equities, come into the commodity market and keep on driving up the costs. And what happened the recent past, since the 24th of February, is of course the war that we have on our doors in Europe, in the Ukraine. Supply chains are being disrupted. We know that since the pandemic that they are highly volatile, that they're highly complex. And the last point is that all of this together is, in the meantime, a huge contributor to climate change, refugees, and migration issues that we see where we work on the ground in West Africa and Ghana, whereby people, the moment they have enough cash for the young boys to hop on a bus for a one-way ticket, they are out, they are off, they go into urbanized centers, they go and work in cities, ultimately end up in Accra, from Accra try to get a ticket into Morocco, and from Morocco try to actually hop over to Europe or to the Americas. And that is our day-to-day scene out there. And agro-food is a huge lever that we can actually unlock if we get it right.
Chris Langwallner has projects has work on the ground, which is very important also to mention. Is not a professor saying we have a problem with Mike. Can you supply? Is it good or not? Gunter, you want to check?
Yeah, we're there.
Okay, it's good. But Chris is with WhatIF. Chris Langwallner is from Active Foods, WhatIF Foods, and is doing work around the world. Let me pass now for a comment to Gunter on this topic.
You know, António, the problem we have is a problem of ethics. We forget at the core there must be ethics, and we have a double moral. Let me translate the first slide we saw in a case of double moral. If I'm a thief and I'm stealing, and I am caught, and I promise the judge I'm going to steal less, what is he going to say to me? Go to jail. You agree? Now I have a corporate, and he's promising that by 2050 he'll be net zero, and he's called a hero. I'm sorry, I don't get it. Doing less bad is bad, stealing less is stealing, polluting less is polluting, period. Over with the discussion. I don't need any analysis anymore. I'm tired of all the analysis. I'm a member of the Club of Rome, like John. We've seen all the numbers for 50 years in a row. Stop bombarding me with the numbers. Where is the action? Where is the meat? Vegetarian substitute meat, of course. You know, we have gotten it so fundamentally wrong because we have refused to apply the basics of life. That's ethics. And so as long as we celebrate those who are doing less bad as our heroes, we will never get anywhere. Never. When in 1984, I was in the Vichada in Colombia and I saw the deforested land that was destroyed by the Spanish 300 years earlier to get meat to Cartagena to avoid scurvy on the gold bullion ships. And we looked at it and said, we will regenerate these forests. We were told by Yale University forestry department that any penny spent on that big mouth is money very badly spent, not well spent. And so we were blocked by all the academia with the idea of regenerating. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the only place in the world today where we have regenerated 8,000 hectares of rainforest, regenerate 256 species of native species of biodiversity. It's the only place where we got rid of the 11 non-native grasses, because non-native grasses cannot survive in a biodiverse forest. And this is not Amazonian forest. This is the Orinocoan forest, which is very different from the Amazonian. Two different ecosystems. But the key is that in that area we have full employment, water is for free. Yes, we banned Coca-Cola. Yes, we have no Fanta. But we have 3 liters of water, and I'll show the pictures later this afternoon. Every child at the age of 6 receives a bicycle. Now, what happens with kids that ride a bicycle every day, and what happens with kids that drink 3 liters of water? We have gotten rid of obesity, we've gotten rid of diabetes B, we've gotten rid of the gastrointestinal diseases. By what? By having a job, by having clean air, by regenerating the forest. Now let's look at the financial numbers, and this is I want to conclude with. Yes. When you have land where nothing grows, there's no water, and when you find water you get diarrhea. How much is that land worth? Nothing. We bought the land for $1 a hectare. Well, how much is the land worth when you're having a full employment, people are healthy, drinking water is in abundance, you can distribute it for free, and you have jobs because you have local factories transforming the resin of the trees into chemical products which you can sell on the local market, out-competing the Chinese. What's the value of the land? Times 3,000. What did we do? By doing a regenerative project since '84, we have made the whole population middle class in 1 generation. And how did we do it? Tree by tree, job by job, transforming local raw materials into finite products, and secure that health and the promotion of life is the priority. Thank you.